morning, Quilt Roadies. How are you all doing? Are you still buried in the snow? Is there still tornadoes in your forecast? I mean, the weather, the news has been off the charts. Mother Nature is being a mother, let me just say. But here today, we don't have rain yet. Everything is blooming like crazy. My rhododendrons are absolutely gorgeous. I have one of the sweetest neighbors next door. She is like a gardener extraordinaire, and last year she gave me a camellia plant that just was blooming. I planted it, you know, she had so many in her yard, she gave me one. I planted it in my front yard, and then she called a couple days ago and said, "Can I come over and fertilize that for you?" Yeah, great neighbor. Anywho, this is Quilt Roadies, a channel about quilting. Oh my gosh, have I got so much to share today. It has been a wild ride since our last episode, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of life update and then a whole lot of things to share. Right up front, our videos might be a little more sporadic than they are, which is what, an oxymoron. I have never been able to stay on a schedule. I mean, it is amazing that I've made every flight that I've scheduled and had to go somewhere, because it's always like, what day are we leaving? Oh, in fact, just to give you an example, one time, two of my girlfriends and I were flying overseas to a quilt show, and I thought we were flying out the next day, and it turned out we were flying out the day before, and I got the notice, and G was out hiking, and all of a sudden I got the notice that I had to be at the airport, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to leave and not hug my husband before I leave. And yeah, but you know, the best part of my life is I have people. I have people, and that's what we all need. We need people to fill in those parts of ourselves that are more out on the edge, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, I know we have not been a channel that's scheduled on a tight schedule or a predictable schedule. That is, yeah, that's who I am. But it will probably be even a little bit more unpredictable because my editor is having some health issues, and we have been going from one appointment to the other and one schedule to the other. And naturally, my heart is like in high anxiety mode, but I just, even though you don't want these challenges, and nobody else wants those challenges for you. In fact, some people will actually avoid you when you're going through challenges because it's too scary and too, they can't acknowledge that the potential is there for themselves, and so they choose to distance themselves, which I totally get. It's like not seeing something, sometimes you can avoid the reality of it. So I totally get that. But just know that we will be putting out our videos as we have an opportunity, and I hope you will still hang with us. I hope you will take the opportunity to make sure you're subscribed. And when we do put a video out, I always love a thumbs up. One always likes encouragement. And know that we are going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. We did get some good news though, because the editor had a bone scan and that came back clear, which was a huge relief to me, because I'm one of those people that goes from 0 to 100, if you didn't know that. And so having that off our list made me feel okay. So we are just putting one foot in front of the other, enjoying the spring days, stitching away. It is what keeps me sane. And when I act sane, the editor feels sane. Okay, enough about that. So I have a lot, I think a fair amount to share with you today. First of all, I was shocked. We are on, next week is our 9th anniversary for Quiltroadies. And I hope if there's a space in between our videos, you go back and cherry pick different videos to watch. And give a thumbs up when you do watch those, because then I can see which ones are being enjoyed again. That first video will be 9 years on April 18th. It seems longer to me. Time is weird, but it seems longer to me. But then G said last night that I was writing the Woolly Mammoth blog many years before that. And I said, that's right. So really, we have been sharing I have been sharing my quilting life for a very long time. And it's such an enjoyable life. Quilting has been a beautiful pleasure. I've made wonderful friends. I've traveled to wonderful places. My quilts have traveled more than I have. And because I don't judge my quilting, I mean, it's for pleasure. It is not, I am not one of those that likes perfection. I like done more than, hence my cooking is marginal. But I like done better than perfection. If they had a cooking show which gave awards for dishes that didn't turn out, I'd win. Hence why G kind of hovers around the stove when I'm cooking. Anyway, it's just amazing to me, 9 years. And just to give you a little history, we started that, we started the channel because we were going to hit the road full time. I mean, be on the road a lot in an RV. We've had every manner of RV out there. But the thought, here were 2 working parents, besides a home business, we were always on the go and busy. And now the 2 of us were going to be in a vehicle for hours at a time and then camping willy-nilly without really any concrete plan. How was that going to work in our relationship? And I said, well, let's go to quilt shops. And, you know, maybe he didn't see my ulterior motive. Because I learned that one could make one's camping bed softer by lining it with fabric. Yeah. But I said, let's go to quilt shops along the way, and so that other people that might be traveling that same way would get to see, oh, there's this fabulous quilt shop. And that was the basis of our journey. And little did we know how amazing it would be. We would meet quilters, we would see quilt shows, and that ultimately led to my stint writing for the quilt show with Alex Anderson and Ricky Timms called Anna and G on the Road. And so in their newsletter every Wednesday, I would have an article in there. And I'm here to tell you, quilters are the best. There were so many wonderful people to meet and just randomly meet. Like you'd be in a shop and you'd stumble upon someone who had watched your video, or you'd take a class in a shop out in the Midwest. It was a wonderful, wonderful adventure. And so it has continued. And I am one of those quilters that is, I'm a pattern follower. I am not a modern or creative, just a pile of fabric and do it. But yet my quilts have been in some amazing shows. I have had a quilt that was photographed and pictured in the British version of Quilt Mania magazine. I've been in a couple of other magazines. My quilts have gotten accepted to shows. I mean, my Queen Mum quilt, my very first quilt, was in the Pacific Northwest quilt show. And just to show you that you should never hold yourself back, that was my first quilt that I made in a class that was to teach quilting. So it was a scrappy quilt in terms of that no two blocks really duplicate. You just made a bunch of blocks and put the quilt together. And because I was so new, I was scared about choosing colors and fabrics, and I had zero knowledge of any of it. And so I decided I am going to buy a whole line of fabric made by one manufacturer, because then it all goes together. You see my reasoning? And so it was a Debbie Mum fabric, the year that she came out with that first, I don't know if it was her first line or not, but it was all Debbie Mum fabric. And it was by, I believe, South Seas. So I made a queen size quilt, a scrappy quilt block quilt out of that fabric. And I know I've told this story before, but for those of you that might not have gone back and listened to me babble, so it hung in the shop that I took the class from as an example, because it not only featured a class, it featured a whole line of fabric. And the representative from South Seas saw it and wanted to take it on the road for a year, and which required me to quilt it. Yes, layers, quilting, never done it before. The sewing machine I had was gifted to me on my wedding day from my aunts, and it came from Sears, and I can't even remember what, maybe it was a Kenmore, I don't know, but I had to go buy a machine to be able to quilt it. So I didn't know how to buy a sewing machine. I had no clue. And then I saw an ad in the newspaper that said there was a guy selling sewing machines at a local motel out of his room. And yes, I went and I bought one. I can't even remember the brand of it. So now I had a new machine to quilt this quilt, but I didn't know how to quilt. How does one quilt? I have no clue. So I bought a spool of monofilament, and I quilted that queen size quilt in the ditch. And I still have that. Someday I'll drag it out to show you. It's just, oh my gosh. So that began my quilting journey. And all I can say for you is don't judge yourself. Just go for it. It's supposed to be fun. Whatever. Just do it. Yeah. You'll have fun. So 9 years on April 18th. And because of that anniversary, that quarter shop has gifted me a $35 gift card to celebrate, to give to one of you. So all you have to do is in the comments, just comment something, but put Fat Quarter Shop so that I can see who's really interested in the gift card. Like there might be somebody who's not, maybe, who knows. But then on the next video, we will draw the winner of that, and you will then send your email to, I'll give you an email address to send your email to, and Kate will then give you a gift code to use when you shop online at Fat Quarter Shop. Yeah. I'm so honored that they're willing to do that. So congratulations to one of you. Yeah. Okay. So what have I been thinking about? I've been thinking about a lot because, you know, when you are somewhat stressed, you have to occupy your brain. And I had to cancel a lot of things, not a lot of things, but life just kind of had to have a new balance to it. And unfortunately, one of the things that had to be canceled was my fabric stalkers quilt retreat. Yeah, there's just no way I could make that quilt retreat. And so I had to think about all the plans I had to, you know, because you know, if you watched the last couple of videos, I've been cutting out and planning what I was going to take, and I've been making a pile of what I was going to take to quilt retreat. And since I'm not able to go, I've had to jury rig those plans. But the good thing is that on Stitch Roadies, that's my other YouTube channel, if you are not familiar. On Stitch Roadies, I am a big shopper at Acorns and Threads, which is my local LNS, and they are, the next event is a beach stitch, which is you bring your own stitching, there's no designer, it's on the beach. Oh my gosh. And from a little squirrel, I heard that Janine is going to do that next year. So you're going to want to be on the Acorns and Threads newsletter to get a heads up on, because there's only so many spots. But I was lucky enough, blessed, that one of my fabric stalkers from my quilt group over on the other side of the mountain had also signed up for that beach retreat. And so I'm going to be able to take some of the things that I was going to take to retreat, and I was going to send a quilt to my quilter and take a whole roll of batting for donation quilts. I'm going to be able to transfer that to her at the cross stitch retreat in April. So that worked, but needless to say, we have to dance a little jig and move a little differently, and that's what we're going to do. I did receive from the Fat Quarter Shop. Oh, I'm here to tell you, if you just need a nice fix in quilting, you want to make a gift quilt, you don't want to take 20 years to make it, you want to use a line of fabric, you want to use up a bunch of scraps, any of those reasons, the Jolly Bar quilt books are the way to go. Not only are they they're in the shape of a it's half of a layer cake size. So a layer cake is a 10 by 10, and then there's charm packs, and this is the size of half of a layer cake. That's the size of this Jolly Bar book. But there are 20 Jolly Bar quilt patterns in there, and this is volume 5, and they are very simple patterns, you know, but ones that really, yeah, I have a gratefully that I invested instead of, what do they call it, invested in pig futures, I invested in fabric futures. And so have a lot of nice pieces of fabric. And if I don't have layer cakes, I have so many yards and fat quarters that could be cut into these things. So if you're interested, this new one, volume 5, go take a look on the Fat Quarter Shop. I can't wait to do that. So that was a little bit of haul that came. And then, let me tell you, I actually took this over to my girlfriend Cheryl's house because I wanted to go stitch in her new, she's been remaking, I can't wait for you to see her channel when she launches it. She is going to be doing a, she was Cheryl on Stitching with the Sisterlies. Her and her sister had a channel, a cross stitch and quilting channel, and now her sister is doing a lot of historical information and quilting, and oh my gosh, Colleen is just an amazing quilter. But Cheryl is going to be developing her own channel about a full life in terms of, it's not only going to be quilting, cross-stitching, chickens, garden, canning, cooking, everything. And so she's been setting up her studios, and oh, I can't wait till she launches. I can't wait till she launches. But I went over because I just wanted to hang out in the newly organized, she was still in the process of organizing her spaces, and I wanted to open this over, this thing I ordered online. I wanted to open it over at her place because I knew she would love it. So I've been a long time fan of the Raspberry Rabbit. Michelle is just is such a kind, gentle spirit who has done lots of quilting, wool stitching, embroidery, those kinds of things. But in this last year, she got into paper cutting, and I was not as familiar with that, but I was fascinated by it. I was just fascinated when she would post on Instagram her paper cutting, because it's so dainty and precision and has a long artistic history. So I went to her shop, and luckily at the time I logged into her shop, she had loaded some things, items for purchase. And I purchased one, and her husband did the soldering of the glass in the frame. But I'm here to tell you, I just love this. So let me just, I want to just show this to you. Oh, let's go like this. That's paper cut with an X-Acto knife. And there on the back. This is absolutely beautiful. It's just beautiful. Oh, so be sure you go check out the her, and I'll put the link below because it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, while I was at Cheryl's house, she was organizing her stitchy space and was pulling out boxes of kits and patterns that she was trying to organize in some semblance of order, which is all of our dream, to have a space where we could actually be organized. and she had this pattern that she gifted to me because she didn't think she would make it, and I have always liked the flying fish, Wendy Williams. And so I know it looks scary, doesn't it, with all that stitching down. Those are all wool pieces on top of a pieced quilt. But sometimes you need a pattern that makes you dream. This is so pretty. So pretty. So I brought that home from her house. And then I started thinking, I have on my front bench, when you first walk in my house, I have a church pew. And on that bench, I have the home pillow. If you go onto Buttermilk Basin, she has a long pillow that has the word home that you stitch down on the front of the pillow. But in the O, you attach another little wool piece that is significant to the month. And I have that downstairs with the Valentine. Of course, that was February, and we're already at April. And I know I'm going to be in some waiting areas in the future, and I have found this last couple weeks that the lighting isn't as good. So I think wool projects will be traveling with me a little bit more. And I decided I had 2 more of the circles for the home. And one is Welcome Home May. So I can prep that up today and get it ready to stitch. And it attaches to the O on the word home by a Velcro strip. So it's a fun way to kind of move things in and out. And then I also wanted to do the July one. And Stacy has such a sweet retro design to her life. And I just think that's really sweet. So I'm going to be prepping those 2 to be my wool stitchy stuff this month. I am sending my quilt, if you remember this quilt I put together, it's the, remember that one? It was a free pattern that I got from the shop in Pacific Grove, the quilt shop in Pacific Grove. Gail, the owner of the shop, did this design. And I wanted to do all ocean prints in the fish bowls. And my girlfriend's going to, she doesn't know it yet, she's going to be quilting it for me. So I'm sending that over the mountain. And then the next quilt that I want to quilt is this one. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing because I get it. Oh, well, here we go. You know, it's, and for the life of me, was this Sherry's quilt? Quilts by Sherry or Primitive Gatherings? I can't remember. Maybe one of you remember. But I know I can't hold this all up. It's like, it's a fun quilt, but you know, I have piles of tops. I have piles of tops, piles of binding, piles of tops. It's, I can be motivated to get all the way through a quilt when I have something specific for it. But if I'm just trying to fill a creative want, then it languishes in a certain stage of that want. Do you understand that? I think some of you might. And because I think the term I'm a topper came from that theme, is that some people just like to make tops. But recently I've been feeling that need to not leave behind all these tops that need to be quilted, you know. The last thing I want to leave you with is, if you have a chance, and I'll put the link below, to go on Instagram and view Sue Stanley, A Stitch in Time. She does a floss tube, but she's a quilter too. She's a hand stitcher. I'm going to put her link down below. She posted something that blew my mind. And the reason it did was because, as with many of you, you have to figure out a way to spark the creativeness, to spark it. And I'm always looking for that way. Hence, having a certain pattern to things. I'm going to do this at this day of the week. Something that sparks it. And she posted, she's doing Hexies, and me and Hexies. She posted how she got this big jar, like a big clear cookie jar, and she's prepping the Hexies and throwing them in so they can be seen. And then, as with all of us that like to fill things up, to see that grow, and the color and the beauty of just the individual Hexies waiting to be made into something, just like, oh my gosh. And her thought was, you just do a Hexie a day and throw it in there, and pretty soon you'll have filled the jar and you have all these Hexies. I was all about it. I don't have a clear cookie jar as of yet. Not too long, but in the meantime, I was gifted this by LaDonna when she came to stitch at Acorns and Threads, and it was a drinking glass with a bamboo top and a place for a straw to fit through, and it had Quilter's nutritional facts on the front of it. But look at this. I am filling this up with Hexies. It's so beautiful. And then my red scissors, my Kohana scissors, fit in the top. And then every time I fill this up, then I'm going to put it in a box and start all over again. And someone asked me where I got this this clear plastic Hexie, because I love this, because you can actually position it over motifs on fabric. And it is a Tula Pink. I don't know if that'll focus because it's kind of clear. No. Anyway, it says paperpieces.com, Tula Pink. It's for a 1-inch Hexie and gives you a 3/8 inch seam. So that is what I use, what I love, and thank you for all of you that helped me find it because I didn't know where it was. And this is just going to be, so you're going to have to check out. And the thing about Sue Stanley's YouTube channel is, well, not only is Sue sweet, but she gives so much history, and I'm a history buff, hence why I like stitching with the Sisterlies. Colleen, I mean, you have got to go see this. Stitching with the Sisterlies, last video, she's made several chicken quilts, because she gets commissioned to make them. And she was challenged by Lori Holt to make an Americana 4th of July chicken quilt. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm not going to even give you a hint. You have just got to go watch. And please, when you go to a shop or a website or a YouTube channel, and you go there because I said, oh, you got to see this, let them know, because what it does is it causes a connection. And then shops are more likely to let you video in the shop, because there have been some shops that are nervous about you videoing. They don't know why you're doing it. But if you pass on that, oh, I heard about this from so-and-so, then they begin to understand the true connection of our community, because it is a lifesaver. It's an emotional lifesaver. Okay, I think I've talked myself out. Today I get to go pick up my youngest grandson, and we've got a little field trip ahead of us. I get to see my cousin, and it's going to be a beautiful day. And I hope it's a beautiful day for you too. And I love you guys.